Hello, everyone. Welcome to Steven Shinder Reviews in video form, continuing my reviews of Star Wars Skeleton Crew. This time it's episode 7. We're going to be in so much trouble. Look, it's been quite a week, so this is going to be a real short one. And I kind of felt like the episode kind of whooshed past me pretty quickly anyway as I was watching it. So overall, the effects were pretty cool. You know, all the stuff that they saw in space, I thought that looked really impressive. And, getting into like what happens, assuming that you've seen the episode, um, Jod is very much against the crew. You know, he even does this really surprising thing. He ignites the lightsaber and I think beheads SM-33. I'm not even sure if he's repairable, so maybe SM-33 is gone for good, which would be a bummer. But for all I know, maybe they would be able to put him back together in the finale. The rodent thing that has been inhabiting SM-33's robot droid head, which I keep forgetting that the rodent's even there, escaped. And, if they wanted to go darker, they could have had Jod, stomp on that rodent, which I'm glad he didn't. It would have been too much. And they especially would not have done that on this family show, but I also feel like this being a family show maybe takes away some of that tension. Jod is this um adult with a weapon, and now he's telling these kids, all right, you gotta do this, land the ship here and then I'll make my escape type thing, and you can't say a word or whatever it is that he says. And I feel like in other things that are a bit more mature, like not family oriented necessarily. Recently I saw this I'm sure people have been talking about this movie Carry On. It involves this guy telling an airport security person what to do, or else someone will die. And there's tension there, even though there are some issues I have with the script of that film and like some of the things that happen, some of the conveniences, but there's still a bit more tension in that situation. So there's not as much here, though I do recognize that this show is about, the kids learning from their adventure. I think by the end of the finale, they'll have this takeaway. They got a message from their parents and they see their parents again. It's like, okay, now what's going to happen? Once they're reunited with their parents. And yeah, I feel like there's not really that much I want to talk about from this episode, but SM-33 possibly gone, which would be a bummer, and I think that is partially what takes my score down a little bit. I think this is more of a 7.5 out of 10 for me. But also the whole thing with Jod, it's not really a surprise that he's not getting a redemption seemingly. It could have gone either way. We had this with DJ in The Last Jedi. So since then it's like, okay, some of these characters could kind of go either way. I think there's a bit of that in Bad Batch as well, if I remember correctly. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, for all we know, he could turn a new leaf in the finale. And yeah, I don't know. The more I think about the episodes of this show, like thinking back about what happens overall, the more the story in my head, recapping it in my head, kind of feels bare bones overall. And I mean, a bare bones skeleton crew, but, not necessarily a bad thing. Some good content is straightforward, but it's quite interesting how thinking back to what happens in the show, one could probably just sum up what happens in maybe less than a minute or maybe half a minute or something, whereas other shows, even other Star Wars shows, have a bit more complicated stuff going on, more things to keep in mind in terms of what actually happened, whereas this is kind of more simple. And Mandalorian season 1 was simple compared to the subsequent seasons, but I think this is a bit simpler. So I do kind of wonder if retroactively my overall feelings of the show could go down like just a little bit to where it's like, yeah, that show was fine. Because I don't know, I'm just thinking back, it's kind of like, what was it all about, really? And there are some things that they learn, friendship and whatnot. I do like that we see the pile of credits and how it spills like gold coins. It really gives you a sense of scale of what it's like to have that much treasure in Star Wars. I quite liked that effect there. But yeah, overall, 7.5. I'm still looking forward to what happens in the finale, but yeah, it's not necessarily an edge of my seat type thing because again, I know that nothing terrible is going to happen to these kids. I know some people might throw out Revenge of the Sith as a counter example, with the Padawans in the temple, but these are kids who are main characters, so I feel like it's a bit different there, if that makes sense. um, but yeah, I'm interested to see how the journey ends. And yeah, that's it for me for now. We'll talk about the finale sometime next week after it airs. And everyone out there, stay safe. Thanks for tuning in and see you next time.